dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle. No script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold back. Voices collide where ideas ignite. You tuned in, now step into the fight. This is more than talk, this is thought that counts. Welcome to the feed where the signal mounts.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack your sources, find those really important nuggets of knowledge and insight. And today we're taking, well, a truly wild ride into just one YouTube source. It's a transcript from an online panel called The Mirror of Truth, Why They Fear the Ones Who See Clearly, #OpenPanel. Now, this isn't your usual, neatly laid out material. You should picture it more as a raw, kind of unfiltered slice of the internet. It's just teeming with these passionate, often really confrontational conversations. So our mission today, navigate this digital landscape, pull out the surprising facts, and really try to understand the complex dynamics going on, both online and off. It feels like stepping into what someone called a cosmic event, where every word hits hard, every frame leaves a dent. Pretty intense description.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I think, is how this single source, despite being so chaotic, it manages to touch on almost everything. You've got the very real consequences of these online fights, but then also these incredibly detailed scientific discussions about human biology. So yeah, we'll explore the conflict, the search for truth, and maybe find some really profound insights about who we are.
All right, let's dive into this online panel then.
Yeah.
Right from the start, you can just feel this intense, almost combative energy. It actually kicks off with a rap.
Yeah, a rap that sets a tone, right? Disruption, being out of this world, talking about breaking mics, shaking lanes, igniting the booth, all that.
Definitely sets a tone. But that initial swagger, it fades pretty quick, doesn't it?
It does. It gives way to the reality of these unmoderated online spaces. You immediately get unfiltered, very personal attacks, insults. I mean, participants are leveling some really serious claims, allegations of child pornography, bomb threats, even threatening to call Homeland Security on each other. Yeah. It's just a stark example of how fast online arguments can spiral into something really vitriolic and personal.
And the way they interact, the panel dynamics themselves, is quite a spectacle.
Oh, absolutely.
Constant interruptions, people accusing each other of white knighting.
Which is like defending someone else.
Right.
Maybe jumping in where they weren't asked.
Exactly. And then just outright name-calling.
Yeah.
Words like diddler, psychopath. It's pretty rough.
Yeah. One person just flat out says, "I have no respect for you." Another admits they're feeling schadenfreude.
Right. Getting pleasure from watching the cringe.
Mm-hmm. And someone actually mentions creating order out of chaos, which is, that Scottish Freemasonry slogan.
Yeah.
Bit ironic given the scene.
Definitely ironic.
Yeah.
So what does this level of just raw interaction tell us about these online communities?
Well, I think it highlights just how raw, emotional, and, confrontational these environments can be. Attention seems to be the currency, And personal attacks become part of the normal discourse. The lines blur between the online persona and the real person, and that seems to fuel the intensity.
Okay, so that sets the scene. But here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, deeply sobering. Amidst all this panel drama, the conversation shifts suddenly. It goes to this horrifying real-world event. The alleged murder of 2 YouTubers in Las Vegas.
Yeah, this part is chilling. The source goes into the case of Manuel Ruiz, known online as Sin City Manny. He's accused of shooting and killing Finney the Legend and his wife Kanisha right on the Las Vegas Strip.
And the craziest part, they were both live streaming.
Both live streaming at the time. A viewer actually saw Manny show up on Finney's stream and pull out a gun. Ruiz claims self-defense, but the police apparently have video evidence that tells a different story.
And the motives they mentioned?
Ruiz claimed Finney had posted negative stuff online about his wife and kids. This apparently followed some earlier altercation on Fremont Street.
So it directly ties back to the online stuff.
Directly. Which brings us back to the panel's earlier talk about online beefs. One panelist, Cynthia, she expresses real fear. She says the Las Vegas case made her think TK is crazy. He is the type of man that would hunt me down and shoot me, and I don't doubt that. You feel the fear there.
Wow. That's heavy. So what's the big takeaway the panelists draw from this?
Well, they reflect on how these online feuds, the striking pages, the my video, your video battles, they can have these devastating real-world consequences. Beyond just the screen, it can destroy, as they put it, that whole community, impact people's actual livelihoods.
It's a really chilling reminder, isn't it, that the digital world isn't separate. It can have very real, very tragic outcomes.
Absolutely.
So, okay, beyond the personal dramas and the tragedy, the source also just throws out this huge, kind of bewildering range of other topics, right?
Yeah.
Little chaotic bits.
Exactly. You get these brief, almost drive-by discussions on big societal issues like immigration comes up, arguments about deportation for people who came illegally, the whole idea of birthright citizenship, someone saying there's a border or a boundary for a reason. And then there's this account of a big protest in downtown LA described as having all foreign flags and no LAPD, raising questions, about social order, public gatherings.
And then it dives into the online truther communities. This is fascinating, too.
Yeah, one panelist calls themselves an unjabbed jab sympathizer, which is interesting phrasing.
It is. Sort of navigating that space.
Right. And they talk about how some truthers get stuck in these loops, believing in, some pretty out there stuff. Boogeyman stories, baby brains, adrenochrome, selling melanin on the black market, or even Chinese eating dehydrated baby fetuses. Really extreme claims.
Yeah, presented as examples of information radicalization online, how repeating these things can lead to these shared extreme beliefs.
And that raises a big question about how we consume information, doesn't it?
Totally.
The source itself, just by presenting these unverified claims, it shows how diverse and often how uncritically information just floats around in these online spaces, sometimes leading to what one panelist just calls delusions, or this idea that the truth is exactly the opposite of what we learned.
Okay, so we've had the panel chaos, the real-world tragedy, the societal debates, the truther stuff, and then just when you think you've got a handle on it, the source takes this incredible turn right into human biology.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
Yeah, like finding this hidden academic paper tucked inside a, online brawl transcript.
Exactly. And it's not superficial. It's this really in-depth exploration of conditions like androgen insensitivity syndrome, AIS, and Swyer syndrome.
Right. Explain that a bit.
Sure. So these are conditions where someone has XY chromosomes, which we typically associate with male biological sex. But their bodies don't respond properly to testosterone during development. So phenotypically, meaning how they appear outwardly, they develop as women.
And the source gets specific.
Very specific. It talks about the spectrum of AIS. There's complete and partial. And Swyer syndrome, which is also called 46XY, complete gonadal dysgenesis. And here's the kicker. It discusses how some individuals with these conditions using fertility clinics, donor eggs, maybe advanced techniques like mitochondrial DNA removal.
Which is usually for preventing diseases, right?
Right. But using that with IVF, they can actually parry pregnancies and give birth successfully.
Which just completely challenges the standard ideas about biological sex and reproduction.
Profoundly. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, you have to ask, how do these complex biological realities stack up against our societal assumptions about gender, fertility, even the sort of divide between heterosexual people they mentioned?
Yeah.
The source even throws in this idea of a male as a biological mutation in development. And it brings up examples from, animal husbandry, how hormone exposure in litters can affect sex development.
It's just remarkable how this seemingly chaotic conversation can suddenly unearth these deep biological complexities. It really broadens the definition.
It really does.
And there was also that theory about birth control. Kind of speculative.
Oh, right. The suggestion that maybe birth control is used in studies not just to prevent pregnancy, but maybe to induce twins or prepare a body to be properly inseminated. It's a good example of how the conversation can just pivot, from established science to more speculative ideas, almost in the same breath.
Definitely. Now, another surprising thread, especially given all the chaos we've discussed, strategy games.
Yeah. Chess, Magic, The Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, they pop up.
One panelist really champions chess, saying it makes you think fast, find solutions quicker, how it forces your brain to upgrade.
And if you think about the wider implications there, these are activities that demand structured thinking, long-term strategy, imagination, role-playing. It contrasts so sharply with the impulsive, reactive nature of the panel discussion itself, doesn't it?
Totally. There's even a bit about building custom gaming PCs for video and audio work.
Right. Which shows this very purposeful technical engagement with digital tools. It's almost like a counter-narrative running through the source.
It really is. It juxtaposes that deep, structured thinking needed for complex games or tech projects with the raw, often illogical exchanges of the panel.
Yeah.
It really makes you consider the different ways we engage with information, with conflict in this digital age, that tension between impulse and strategy.
A fundamental paradox, maybe.
So today we dove into this raw, unfiltered online panel. We saw personal attacks collide with news of a just tragic real-world shooting, and topics veered from societal debates into these surprisingly deep scientific discussions on biology and identity.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows the many faces of online discourse, I think. It's a space where information, factual, speculative, sometimes way out there, just flows so freely. And that can lead to radicalization, sure, but also, weirdly enough, to these profound biological insights that make us question our basic understanding of ourselves.
Our goal here was really to help you navigate that chaos. Pull out the key insights from this really complex source. We hope you found some of those aha moments in the unexpected connections.
And it leaves us and you with a pretty important question, I think. In this world just flooded with information, where online talks can be so unmoderated, so passionate, how do you sort the truth from the noise? Where do you go to find those deeper, more complex understandings of the world around us, and maybe even the world inside us?
Yeah, definitely something provocative to mull over as you continue your own deep dives.
Mic check, one voice, one spark. From the shadows to the bright, let's light the dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle, no script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold back. Voices collide where ideas ignite. You tuned in, now step into the fight. This is more than talk.